Okay, so this is a demo about one aspect of static electricity, which is charging by friction. So I'm going to demonstrate that today with a couple balloons and some wool or rabbit fur. I'm not really sure what it is, okay? So what we have here is the triboelectric series. I'm going to explain that just for a second, just to remind you if you haven't seen this before. But materials at the top of this triboelectric series have an affinity for electrons. That's your word for the day, affinity. Okay, and that means they want to accept electrons. They love electrons, so they will take electrons. They're electron takers. Okay, so things like celluloid, which is like film. Okay, sulfur, rubber, copper, brass, they'll all take electrons. The things at the bottom of this, like rabbit fur, glass, wool, cat fur, silk, things like that, are electron givers. Okay, they're willing to give up electrons. Okay, whereas the things on the top of the triboelectric series have an affinity for electrons. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this balloon, which is attached to a little thread, and I'm going to rub it against. This looks like rabbit fur, but I don't think it really is. I think it's really wool. But you can pretend either way. It doesn't matter. It's either rabbit fur or wool. It's still going to be an electron giver. Okay, so now I'm going to rub it on this balloon. Well, the balloon is some kind of rubber. I'm not sure what type, but it's some kind of rubber. Okay, so electrons now are moving from the wool. Okay, as I rub it, so I'm generating friction here, moving from the wool into the balloon. Okay, so now if I'm doing this right, if everything's working, this balloon ought to be negatively charged. Excess electrons have moved to the balloon. It's now negatively charged. So I'm going to hang it by this thread. So you know from earlier demos and earlier demonstrations that negatively charged objects and neutral objects attract. So if this is really negatively charged, and I think this is negative, I think this is neutral, these balloons ought to be attracted to each other. And look at that, they are. In fact, they're so attracted that I can pull this little balloon, the big balloon, over with the little balloon, because they're just trying to stick together, aren't they? So they're really attracted to each other. So this is negatively charged, this is neutral, and they're attracting each other, okay? And you notice there's something else going on here. I'm able to generate, these each have electric fields around them. And I'm able to generate an electric force based on that field. And you notice that force is capable of moving a balloon. Okay? So each of these has an electric field around it, and I'm able to generate that electric field, and that electric field creates a force. And you notice this balloon, this little negatively charged balloon here, is capable of basically moving this other balloon over, and that's the electrical force that's being generated, okay? And you can see they're obviously being attracted to each other. Negative, neutral, okay?